Good afternoon. This is Jacob Mitchell, your Barbersville Village Advocate representative. I'm making this video this afternoon in regards to a request that was made by a local citizen. It was brought to my attention that with everything I provided to the council and the mayor, with everything that was included in my petition to bring back the newsletter, that although I turned in all of the information to the mayor and the council in regards to the economic breakdown, the cost effectiveness of which way they would want to do it, how much it would cost for each model, each plan to bring back, as well as the ideas behind each plan, that the public didn't really know much about it other than what I had told them. And as everyone knows, I'm always an advocate and a fan of being completely transparent, of being completely open, and educating the public on every aspect of what's going on, whether it be how much the newsletter costs or the fact that the mayor has a $10,000 discretionary fund every month that allows him or her to help fix things in the community that need to be fixed or address issues that need to be fixed. So to start off, I want to start by getting off pace of the newsletter for a moment and just touch on what the discretionary $10,000 does. I brought it up in a council meeting a few weeks back, and a lot of people didn't know who it was, and to be honest with you, a lot of people were surprised that I even knew what it was. And the truth is that I had learned about it during the campaign, that the mayor, and actually in other cities, a lot of mayors have more. Some cities have 50,000, some have 100,000. It just depends on the size and scope of the town that you live in, whether it be a village or a municipality or a city. But in the village of Barbersville, our mayor is given $10,000 a month, every month. That does not roll over. So if they do not use it, it just starts back over at $10,000 the next month. They can't just stack it. And what it's used for, in essence, is, let's say, for instance, the Public Works Department comes to the mayor and says, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Mayor, one of our garbage trucks broke down, and it's going to cost $6,500 to fix it. Unfortunately, we only have $2,500 in our budget, and there isn't another council meeting for another 2 or 3 weeks. Can you help us with this? So in theory, the mayor would go, well, of course, bring me back the estimate. Let me see how much it's going to really cost, and then I will write you a check for the difference. So in that case, it would be $4,000 since it was $6,500, and the Public Works only had $2,500. So the mayor writes a check of $4,000, and then at the next council meeting, presents it to the council and says, hey, the Public Works Department came to me and said, we needed this. I went ahead and did it. Let's go ahead and get this put in for the record. Now, a lot of people in this town are under the idea, and I'm not saying they're true or they're false, but there's a lot of people in this town that feel like that money is being mismanaged. And if you feel that is so, then I always say, go to the mayor's office, ask what it's being used for. Because we did have the city lawyer, village lawyer, come in a few meetings back and go over. They did an audit of everything, and everything came back perfect. So that everything also includes that $10,000 discretionary budget. But I'm not saying one way or the other that it's being misused or used correctly. Hopefully it is always being used correctly. But just so you know, there is a $10,000 discretionary budget that allows the mayor to do what he or she may see fit to help benefit the town. Now, if you want to learn more, comment down below. Comment on the video, let me know, and I'll be happy to make a video separate from this. So as for the newsletter, I would like to explain to you everything that went into bringing back the newsletter in hopes that it does finally get brought back. After I presented it, as you well know from watching the council meeting, I had the support of not just one, not just two, but 3 of the council members. Donnie Plyben, Rick Keaton, and Paula C. all agreed that we need to have that newsletter back. And postcards have been supposed to have been going out for the last month. Now, there was a mix-up, and it was told that the water company would have to get the information from the water company. But can we just stop for a second and think about this? During the election, when we ran for office, we were given a sheet of every registered voter in the village with their address. So why aren't we using the registered voter form to mail out these postcards to, when all they have to do, and they actually have it on file in City Hall, and if they don't have an updated copy, then they can reach out to the Cabell County Courthouse and get an updated copy of the voter roll, so that they know exactly which houses are in the village and which houses they can share with Johnson Printing to know who to mail the postcards to, because these postcards are important. I turned in a petition with 70 signatures showing the support of 70 people that want the newsletter back. Now, I could have gotten more, but I didn't have time, and I was doing it by myself. But I understand that they want to try to get a more broad scope number of how many people actually want the newsletter back. But can we please speed up this process? Because it's been a month. They knew 3 weeks before I was going to present my petition that I was going to present my petition. So if you really think about it, it's been almost 2 months that they've known about this. And this is the most important time of the year to have the newsletter back. We need to know when trash days are going to be behind because of Thanksgiving or Christmas or Halloween or a major holiday, Columbus Day, anything. We need to know when the parade is. We need to know numbers at City Hall. We need to know when events are going on. And this is one of the most important, busiest times of the year in our village. And that's why it is of major, major importance that this newsletter be brought back. And this newsletter isn't just a newsletter to show us exactly what the budget is, which it does show, and it shows how much we've made, what we're spending our money on. It shows the previous month's council minutes. It gives an update from the fire department, the police department. It gives a senior citizen center calendar of the month's events. Over the last 3 or 4 years, the attendance of the senior citizen center has dropped. And let's think about this. Why is that? Well, there hasn't been a newsletter physically. There was for a month or two in 2022 and in 2021, and in 2020 we had COVID, but realistically, consistently, we haven't had a newsletter since 2019. And I know people were scared to come out because of COVID, and I know people were scared to come out even after COVID because they're afraid to get sick, and I understand that. Our most vulnerable are the ones that are really wanting this newsletter back, as well as other citizens. But we always teach that our kids are the future, and our kids need this newsletter as much as we do. So if we get this newsletter back, and let me show you what the newsletter used to look like for many of you who may not have lived here during the time that we actually got the newsletter. I got a copy. This was the first page. This was the second page. Showed the council minutes. Here's a rollover into the council minutes. And then look at this. This is the most important part. This was our city revenue and what each department was getting money for, and how much was being spent on each department, what our tax dollars are being spent on. Then, like I said earlier, we had the police department and fire department. We also had a little, there it is, the senior citizen calendar to let them know what events are going on, when the free lunches are to work out, all the fun stuff for our senior citizens to do. And then, as you can see down there, it says cleanup week, when it is. It had a little section called Charlie's Chuckles, a little nice little section that made it fun over here, as you can see on this last page, and showed when the city election was. And then most important, let's look at this back page. That is a list of every single phone number at a city hall for anything that the citizens in this village need. Whether it's to call the recorder or the mayor or the public works department or the building commission, or have questions about your trash, or have questions about when garbage is going to be late. It had numbers to everything. And I understand that we live in a digital age, but we are in what I called in my presenting at the petition, we're in the tween generation. We have my generation and my daughter's. I'm 37 and my daughter's 11. Then we have my dad and his parents' generations, who are 69 and in their 80s and 90s. We have a couple of, actually, most everybody on the council, except for Patrick Wagner, is over the age of 60. So Patrick Wagner in himself is in his own generation. I think he's 38 years old. Donnie, Paula, Rick, Nisha, they're all in their 60s. Chris is in his 50s. So Chris more than anybody, should understand what it means like to be in the middle, because in age-wise, he's in the middle of everybody. And in 20 or 30 years, we may be able to go all digital, but the truth is that we need this newsletter to show transparency in the community we live in. Now, let me go over this. This and this is a copy of our charter. If you don't have a copy of our charter and you want to know what our town rules and everything are, go online. You can go to the website. You can go to City Hall and request a copy of it. I know sometimes they may tell you that they don't have it, but the truth is they don't really want to print out. It's about 200-300 pages, so they do have a free copy online and they can direct you in that direction. But all you really need is about the first 30 to 40 pages, roughly, plus something they need to go into the ordinance to find out more about the building commission. But here's the petition that I presented. It says, "We, the people of the village of Barbersville, are requesting that the mayor and village council bring back the newsletter monthly in print form. This is to be mailed out to residents that want to receive it physically while still being available to those who still want to receive it online. We have laid out some plans that detail some examples of how the newsletter can be brought back monthly. These plans also come with a breakdown of how much it will cost in each plan to do it monthly. This monthly newsletter is of vital importance so that transparency and openness of government and community activities are achieved in the village of Barbersville. We want this brought back ASAP. Thank you for your time and service to this great little village that we call home. We know the right thing can and will be done for the betterment of our great little village. Below, we will attach the signatures and addresses of those who support this worthy request and petition." Now, let's go and show you the plans. As you can see, I have Plan 1 and Plan 2, Plan 3 and Plan 4, as well as Plan 5 and some additional notes. And to give you a better understanding, instead of rambling on for 5-10 minutes about what each plan covers, in a nutshell, here's what it is. You bring back the newsletter in print form while keeping it available online. Then you treat the newsletter a little bit like the tidbits. You give our local businesses an opportunity to put an ad in the village newsletter that comes out once a month. Now, what this does is, this is lowballing. Let's say for $50 a month or $500 a year, each business gets to put an ad in there, a little small ad. Not too bulky, not too much, not too many pages to print out, because each page costs money, as we all know. And with the amount of businesses that are in the village, most people don't even know, other than the 2 or 3 main ones, like the record store and the restaurant and bar. But there's a new boutique. There is a barber shop. There are other businesses in our village, and we need to support our local businesses. But with the local businesses having the opportunity to put ads in there, let's say if 10 businesses do a year's subscription, that's $5,000. Now, I want to point out over here, this is a breakdown of how much it costs, as well as printouts of how much the village paid for the newsletter every month between 2013 and 2019. I got that from Johnson Printing. Thank you, Johnson Printing. Now, the estimated cost monthly of the newsletter, if it was to be mailed out to 500 people, as well as some copies left at local areas such as the library, City Hall, and some local businesses, and this is lowballing it, this would be between $500 and $750, would be $1,149.74 monthly and $13,796.88 yearly. Now, you want to include the local businesses in that $5,000 that I was talking about, and that's not even including businesses at the mall or down Route 60 that pay the home rule tax, the extra 1% sales tax that helps to put new turf on the soccer fields and put new turf on the baseball fields and allow our city to become independent financially and not have to rely on outside help. It would drop the price of the newsletter to $9,197.92. That's a difference of $4,598.98. Divided by 12 is less than $1,000 a month. Less than $1,000 a month to bring back a newsletter. Now, I want to point out that I, in finding out these numbers, inflated everything by 15% higher than the current market value puts everything in. That includes postage. That includes the paper to print it on. That includes the company, how much they're going to charge. I increased that 15%. Most people don't know that when you mail stuff out in bulk, you can get a discount on how much postage costs. So postage may be even less. Maybe it's not 500 people who want it now. Maybe only 300 people want it now, but we need to keep 400 copies so that they can be passed out at local businesses so that we're not spending as much on postage. You always want to find the most cost-efficient ways to bring something back or to do something. You don't want to spend wastefully, and you don't want to spend willy-nilly and just throw your money down the drain. You want to be responsible. And this entire plan that I laid out is responsible. I will also show pictures at the very end of a breakdown of everything so that everyone can see, pause, look at it, and check it out for themselves. But did you hear that? Less than $1,000 a month. I think everybody would be A-okay with bringing back a newsletter that's not in full color, that's just in one color to save money for less than $1,000 a month, that gives us the ability to know what events are going on, to feel involved, to get involved, to know what our money is being spent on, to know what's going on at council meetings. And then one last thing before I read my last note on here is this. We teach that our children are the future. So what better way to get our children involved in our community than to involve them in the newsletter? Why can't we do something like I have typed out here? Newsletter effects on children. Elementary school age kids do a weekly reader to teach them about current events and science inventions. Village of Barbersville elementary kids could use this newsletter to teach them about current events and fun activities going on in their community. Middle school age kids learn about current events in social studies class. They could even discuss and do assignments based on current events using what? The newsletter. The newsletter is important to the children in our village because it teaches them what government does and is responsible for, informs kids about what fun activities are going on and going to be happening in the community, builds pride and interest in the community that these kids live in, and potentially teach and encourage children to get involved in the community and the political process. If we are to teach our children that they are the future, then we need to teach our children that they can be the future by teaching them. It's simple. You don't just lie to your kids and say, oh, well, you'll learn about it later. If they don't learn about it now, who are they going to learn it from? Do you really want them to learn it from somebody else? Do you really want somebody else influencing your child? I can guarantee 99% of everybody's going to say no. Because I know I wouldn't. Also, we could do a program where once a month, one kid gets to be mayor for a half a day, and one kid gets to be recorder for a half a day. And they get to go spend the day. And the mayor and the recorder may buy them lunch, and then they come back after lunch. And the next day, in either English or social studies class, they present what they've learned, what they didn't know, what they did know. Do they want to be mayor one day? Do they want to be a recorder one day? I think this would be an awesome idea to get the kids involved in the political process, and also teach them that getting involved in their community is of vital importance. And then, to get the children involved with the newsletter, you could put fun activities in the newsletter, like word searches or crossword puzzles. Wouldn't take much space, wouldn't take much money to do so. You could allow elementary and middle school age kids to have their poems published in the newsletter monthly to share their artistic and creative ideas with the community. A parent that could see that their kid's poem is in the newsletter, and the pride that that parent would feel. I mean, I know as a parent that I would be prideful of my own child if she had a poem in the newsletter. That would be awesome. You could put youth league sports scores like the Herald-Dispatch used to do, and still maybe sometimes does. I know the Herald-Dispatch doesn't even put an issue out on Sunday or Monday anymore. That it's all online for those 2 days. But do you remember when you were little and you had your name in the paper when you scored a goal, or you hit a home run, or you scored 23 points in a basketball game, or threw 2 touchdowns? Do you remember what that was like, that feeling when you would put it up on your wall? Why can't we do that with the kids in the community, with the t-ball leagues, with the baseball leagues, with the soccer leagues, with the football? I mean, there's opportunities at the yin yang. And then another idea is you could dedicate a small section to do a little biography on one middle school kid and one elementary kid each month. What better way to be proud of your kid than have a little thing about them, about they love their community, and they have a dog named Spot, and they love Oreo cookies, and their favorite place to go is Myrtle Beach. I mean, I think it's a really cool idea, and it gets them involved. But most importantly, student involvement and interest in the village newsletter is of vital importance. Student involvement in the newsletter teaches kids to be proud, involved, and excited about the community that they live in. We teach our kids that they are our future and they need to be involved in their community and country. This is where we start. Newsletter involvement. I'm going to finish with this. During the election, our now elected mayor, Chris Tatum, which as many know and many have formed their opinions on, and I'm not going to give my opinion because my opinion is irrelevant here. Some people like him, some people don't like him. Some people don't know about some of the accomplishments, and this is something I tried to point out to him. Do any of you know that over the last 2 years that our mayor has gotten $10 million from the federal government to upgrade the sewer systems in our village that haven't been upgraded over the last 30 to 40 years, and that we're still eligible for $10 more million over the next 2 years if we need it to upgrade our sewer system? And there's a bunch of other things. But as I understand, and I have talked to many, there's reasons why people may not like the mayor. There's reasons why people may not like me. I'm sure there's enough people out there that don't like somebody for some reason or another. Some justified, some not. But the best way to form a well-educated opinion on somebody is to be well-educated. And I'll finish with this. Our mayor, right before the election, right before everyone went to the polls, made a post online. And he said this: I stand by my time in office and the work that I have done over the years. It's all a matter of public record. I have nothing to hide. It has always been an entirely transparent process, and I assure you that it will continue to be. Transparency and honesty is what the people are owed. Tangible results and leaving it better than when I took office was always my goal. If you truly stand by these words, as many do, and many want to, then you know where we start. The newsletter being brought back in physical form. Now, I will show you each thing that I said I would. Bear with me because I have to flip the camera so that you can see for yourself what the petition said and what some of these plans are. Thank you, and if you have any more questions, comment down below and I'll be happy to make a separate video on YouTube to talk more about this. I hope that everyone could see that. If not, I'll be happy to post pictures of it more. And if it's backwards, I apologize where it is on camera. Thank you all for listening, and have a great day.